Are we live? Yes, we're live. Oh my gosh. This is like the coolest week I've ever had in my entire life. Okay, I am in Austin, Texas right now. Oh, let me turn these off. Okay, I can't even get to all that. Okay. Okay, before y'all think this is clickbait, it's not clickbait. I swear to God, I've got the links I'm going to have in the description. I'm going to read from KVUE and from the Austin American Statesman. But before I get to that, though, okay, again, I am in Austin, Texas right now. Yesterday, actually, I drove up this morning, but the week before, if y'all saw my live, I was in sailing school, and yes, I passed my ASA 101, 103, 104, written and physical on the ship, on the boat. I passed all three of them, and now I can be a certified skipper. Okay, my buddy Kristen posted she's driving down from Michigan. If y'all might remember Kristen Megan, she was the sweetheart, the angel that helped me back in the Blaine days do the GoFundMe to help with the lawyer stuff. She said she's going to be in Austin. They're doing a rally for mask and all that. But anyway, Austin being the capital of Texas is where just a lot of political stuff happens. And where I've mentioned before, like numerous times, here about Paxton, remember what I said, all I need to get is that extra 2%, that embarrassing 2% that Paxton just barely squeaked by. I've been telling you all along about how Paxton was indicted on federal fraud charges 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now. I went to this rally, and it was a bunch of Republican-type people, of which I'm not, nor am I a Democrat, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, I was surrounded by 200 or 300 generally Republican-type people, which are the type of people I'm trying to reach out to shave off that 2%. And I didn't go on live on here on my YouTube channel, but I did go live on my Facebook page, and I went around the rally, and oh man, I left my sign out there. I'll get it later. I made a sign of, hashtag Paxton for prison, and I walked all the way around the Capitol or the entire block of the Capitol with everybody, and I got a bunch of people helping me actually chant Paxton for prison, like his own people. Okay. I'm in town. I've got a lot of friends in Austin, and I've met up with a few. I met my friend Amanda Martin. She and I have been friends for forever on Facebook. Got to hang out with her. I finally got to see Kristen again for the first time since like 2012 in real life. And I'm going to meet a few others here later. Anyways, I've got Tracy. Yeah, I'm going to meet Tracy. Melissa Sabat, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. The people that I talked to who asked me about my sign most of them knew who Paxton was, but they did not know that the man had been arrested. They were doubting me. I'm like, I'm not making this up. I swear, look it up. And you know how that goes. We were like, maybe. I'm not going to give into it. So I've been up since 3 this morning, drove into Austin, did the rally. My feet are hurting from sailing, and believe it or not, holding on to that gigantic steering wheel for hours at a time. It uses all the muscles in your body, and I'm sore, and then I did the walking. So I came home, Motel 6, $60 a night, because my broke cheap ass. And took me a little glorious nap, and lo and behold, what did I find? Hang on, I'll pull it up here. Give me just a second. Hang on. Dadgummit, what happened to it? I just had it here. This is what I didn't want to do. Nope, not that one. Not that one. My phone's blown up. I've already posted on my Facebook that all this is happening. People are like, oh my God. I'm like, I beat Ken Paxton. Where's that? Okay, here it is. Okay, KVUE.com. I'm not going to read the KVUE. KVUE, the local affiliate here in Austin. They gave a link to, and the only reason I'm doing this from the Austin American Statesman, the Austin American Statesman gave a little more detail, and this might get boring to some people, but this is huge to me. I've been fighting this asshole for over 3 years now. I've made the hashtag Paxton for prison over 3 years ago. And I guess, I got some traction back in the day that kind of fiddled away. But these new accusations, these are in addition to what is the charges, the federal grand jury indictment he's already had pending for over 5 years. So, forgive my old man glasses. This is from the Statesman, just so y'all know. I'm not making this up. It's really there. I did give credit in the description to the Statesman and for KVUE for covering this, since apparently most people around here and in Texas, these voters just don't know what's going on. I'm going to read this out. After I'm done with this live, it takes me a while I don't normally get on my computer. I do most of my work from here. So I've got to send links and all that. But I will have the link so you can read it for yourself. I'm not making this shit up. Get this. Top aides accused Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton of bribery. There he goes. Sorry, the connection's slow here. Bribery and abusing his office. Top aides of the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton have asked federal law enforcement authorities, these are his own people, to investigate allegations of improper influence, abuse of office, bribery, and other potential crimes against the state's top lawyer. In a one-page letter to the agency's Director of Human Resources obtained Saturday, like today, literally October the 3rd, 2020, today, Saturday, by the American Statesman and KVUE TV, 7 executives, count them, 7 executives, his own people. Oh, I'm already getting lost again. Hang on just a second, sorry. I hit the... In a one-page letter to the state obtained by KVUE, 7 executives in the upper tiers of the office said that they are seeking the investigation into Paxton, quote, in his official capacity as the current Attorney General of Texas, end quote. The Thursday letter said that each, quote, has knowledge of facts relevant to these potential offenses and has provided statements concerning those facts to the appropriate law enforcement, end quote. Paxton, age 57-year-old Republican, was elected in 2014. His office said in a statement Saturday evening, the complaint filed against the Attorney General's office was done to impede an ongoing investigation into criminal wrongdoing by public officials, including employees of this office. Making false claims is a very serious matter, and we plan to investigate this to the full extent of the law. I sincerely hope I come up in that investigation. That would just be epic. The statement did not elaborate. The letter to Human Resources was signed by Paxton's first assistant, Jeff Mateer. I don't know who this guy is, but he resigned on Friday. Jeff Mateer, who resigned Friday, as well as Mateer's deputy and deputy attorneys general overseeing divisions that include criminal investigations, civil litigation, have a good faith belief that the Attorney General is violating federal and or state law, including prohibitions related to improper influence, abuse of office, bribery, and other potential criminal offenses, the letter states. I know for a fact that I do actually have some feds that watch my channel, and y'all know who you are. Wink, wink. Here's your cue. Do your job. Their decisions to report possible illegal activity involving their employer represents a stunning development in the agency that prizes loyalty participation from within Paxton's inner circle. It places a renewed spotlight on Paxton, who is already under indictment for alleged security fraud. I know y'all can't see it because of the way the lighting is. Again, the link is going to be in the description just as soon as I get done with this, so you read it for yourself. No, my link is not clickbait. Maybe a little slightly exaggeration. I have it completely beating, but it just so happens I was holding a Paxton for Prison rally sign today. I've been railing about this for years, and then suddenly, boom! Want to hear? Let's see. Get our podcast every morning. Our headlines express. Blah 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 blah. The complaint concluded by saying that they notified Paxton in a text message Thursday that they had reported the alleged violations to law enforcement. The whistleblowers, God, I love whistleblowers, who notified Human Resources to protect their jobs, offered no other details about the allegations and did not describe what they believe Paxton did was illegal. Efforts to reach them were unsuccessful on Saturday. Today, Mateer's inclusion in the complaint letter and his departure as Paxton's second in command. The dude was literally Paxton's second in command, and he quit yesterday. Remember what people like me always say, where there's smoke, there's fire? Mateer's inclusion into the complaint letter and his departure as Paxton's second in command was particularly significant, coming from a political ally who shared a conservative Christian perspective on many social and legal issues. When President Donald Trump tapped Mateer to become a federal judge in 2017, Paxton lauded him as a principled leader, man of character, and who has done an outstanding job for the state of Texas. Mateer's nomination was later withdrawn after revelations of anti-LGBT remarks, including calling transgender children part of Satan's plan. Mateer told colleagues that he is leaving the government to rejoin his Plano-based conservative nonprofit law firm, helping to nominate judges to federal courses, the Dallas Morning News reported Friday. Mateer worked for the First Liberty Institute prior to joining Paxton's office. Paxton has been operating under a separate legal cloud since the summer of 2015, when he was indicted on 3 felony counts related to private business deals in 2011 and 2012. 7 months after being sworn into his first 4-year term as Attorney General, Ken Paxton was arrested. Yep, read him a week, people. He was arrested. He was booked in the Collin County Jail and quickly released on a no-money bond. And before he got out, I'm sure he gave some autographs to some of the prison guards. Actually, I talked to a prison guard today. He knew who Ken Paxton was. He's been dealing with the officer in general because of his child support. I briefly explained my stuff. He said, you know what? I work in a prison and I'll make sure his cell is nice and clean. And I said, okay, thanks, man. You can be sure and polish up those bars for him or get him to do it for himself. He has steadfastly claimed his innocence and dismisses the charges as a political attack from those who oppose his strong conservative principles. Cough. Quote, this is Paxton. Don't believe the attacks on me, Paxton said in a 2016 video released by his campaign. They aren't true, and I'm going to fight them. That's a literal quote. I added the conjecture, but they aren't true, and I am going to fight them. End quote. The most serious charge, 2 counts of securities fraud, was related to Paxton's effort to solicit investors in Servergy Incorporated without revealing that the mechanic tech company was paying him for the work. The first-degree felonies carry a maximum of 99 years in prison. Yes, I hope he gets the full sentence if convicted. Hopefully he gets convicted. He was also charged with failing to register with state securities regulators while conducting other investment business, a 3rd-degree felony with a maximum of 10 years sentence. Paxton has aggressively fought the charges, and the criminal case has been delayed by numerous appeals and legal wrangling from defense lawyers and prosecutors. There's still no trial date set. And I would like to add, for the KVUE execs watching this and for the Austin American Statesman people, don't forget that his campaign manager, Michelle Smith, back in 2018, right before the election, when I was raising mortal hell. Oh, wait, that reminds me, that story's not done. I remember reading. Yeah. Here it goes. Yeah, I'll get back to that. Keyword, Michelle Smith. I'll be right back. Paxton was accused of fraud related to the Severgy venture in a civil complaint by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in 2016. A federal judge, however, dismissed the complaint, ruling that the federal securities law didn't require Paxton to tell potential investors about the deal with Severgy. Still, the SEC filing provided most of the public details about Paxton's involvement with Severgy. According to the SEC, Severgy paid Paxton 100,000 shares for his work lining up valued at $1 a share, lining up the $840,000 deal investment. A sum represented 32% of Severgy investment in 2011. Two of those investors were mentioned in the Collin County indictment. State Representative Byron Cook, a Republican of Corsicana, who has since left office, and Florida businessman Joel Holschberg, both of whom belong to an investment club that include Paxton. What was it George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. Responding to the criminal charges resulting from his Severgy involvement, Paxton argued that his actions were not illegal, and he has accused prosecutors of stretching the definition of fraud beyond its legal meaning. It depends on what the definition of is. Y'all like my Bill Clinton impersonation? It was piss poor. Sorry. Paxton has argued his actions were not illegal and that he has accused prosecutors of stretching the definition of fraud beyond legal meaning. Paxton also blamed his legal trouble on political opponents. Blame. It's always something else. Take responsibility, Ken Paxton. Particularly moderate Republicans in Collin County and the legislature. Well, moderate Republicans in Collin County and in the legislature, I would love to talk to y'all. I've got a fairly big platform here, and you can remain anonymous if you'd like, but it'd be so much sweeter if you'd show your faces and let's get some juicy dirt on this douchebag. Running for re-election 2018. Oh, here's what I want to get to. Running for re-election in 2018. Remember, I've talked about this. This is when I started the big Paxton for prison hashtag. Running for re-election in 2018 against Democratic opponent who made the indictments a centerpiece of the campaign, Paxton was given a second term with only 50.6% of the vote. That was Justin Nelson. But even as Republicans swept yet again every statewide office, Paxton's mere 3.6 point victory over Democrat Justin Nelson was the closest statewide race on the ballot. Okay, the reason I wanted to finish that last sentence right there, I've talked about this, and I know numbers, when I talk a bunch of numbers, it gets annoying and people get lost, but this last sentence, but even as Republicans swept yet again every statewide office, Paxton's 3.6% point victory over Democrat Justin Nelson was the closest statewide race on the ballot. I was just talking to my buddy Amanda about this and a couple other people. He barely won. Justin Nelson got a lot of the vote, but the Libertarian who ran for Attorney General versus the Libertarian who ran for governor, this dude got like 4 times the number of votes as the guy who ran for governor on the Libertarian ticket. This guy. And I take most, if not all, of that credit. There's no way that a Libertarian for Attorney General gets 4 or 5 times the number of votes as the Libertarian for candidate for governor without some kind of outside influence. And I believe that I was that outside influence. Back to Michelle Smith. Michelle Smith called me up personally. His own campaign manager, Michelle Smith, Ken Paxton's own campaign manager, called me personally. We talked, and I'm summarizing, not trying to put exact words in her mouth, but basically the gist was, what have we got to do, Caleb, to get you to shut up? Well, back then, I was still in turmoil, limbo, wasn't sure I was getting sued again, wasn't sure if I was going to win. And I basically said, I want you to call the freaking dogs off. If you call the dogs off on your end, I'll call the dogs off on my end. And so she goes, okay, well, I can just make some phone calls. And will you stop doing this? I was like, really? Really? It's just that simple? You can just make a couple phone calls? I've been fighting tooth and nail for years to get this shit to stop. And his campaign manager, Michelle Smith, she did. She made a few phone calls. Did a few hours, maybe the next day. I can't remember exactly. Their minions over at the OAG, they called me up, said, this is so-and-so at the Office of Attorney General's office. They talked to me and said, we've been instructed to, quit accumulating the old debt. Because at the time I was like trying to get to court just to get because since my income had gone down, I was trying to get it to quit racking up so bad. So that being said, there is a law that says people at the OAG and people like me cannot communicate together if I have a lawyer on retainer, of which I do. And I did. His name is Gavin Norris. Gavin was the guy that helped me get primary custody of Blaine. So I'm no lawyer, but they talked to me anyways. Is that not another law they broke? That'd be interesting to find out. However, I thought when they called the dogs off, that means they're going to finish the job and update my file and all that stuff, but they didn't do that. Michelle Smith blocked me on Facebook and quit answering my phone calls or whatever. And she later popped up on my Tinder account, and we were obviously not a match. Imagine that. But anyways, this is just fantastic news. It goes for Ken Paxton wise, it goes from bad to worse. He's already been indicted 5 years ago, and now his own teams bail on him left and right. They're throwing him under the bus. And I could not be more excited. In 1 week, I get skipper status on a sailboat of like 45 feet and under. I can literally go rent or charter a 45-foot sailboat or less, 45 feet or under, drive up here to Austin, meet some of my Facebook friends for the very first time ever. And then on top of that, I get to wake up from a glorious nap to the news that Ken Paxton's day just got infinitely worse. And I don't know if y'all know this, but his wife, Angela Paxton, is a state senator, state rep. She just got elected 2 years ago as well. So it looks like Angela could possibly be still married to a former disgraced douchebag. Oh, man, dadgummit. I don't know if y'all can still see me. It said my connection was bad. I'm on Wi-Fi at the Motel 6, so you have to forgive me. Anyway, Angela Paxton might be having to be married to a guy who's going to be in prison for the rest of his sorry-ass life. And you just never know. You know how divorce goes. It sucks. And, Ken might just have to get divorced and sign those papers in jail, and Angela can move on to some other young stud that's not involved in these criminal enterprises that the deadbeat Attorney General Ken Paxton is involved in. And best of luck to you, Angela. I'm sure Ken's gonna be a little upset, but it'll be all right. The rest of us peons, we've been through the trenches, and we've been at the hand of your sorry husband and what he's done to us. And it's not just me, folks. It's not just me. And I know a lot of my Facebook friends and real life friends, they are hardcore Republicans. They know that I'm not, but even they are like, you know what? Yeah, Caleb, I'm Republican, but I'm dealing with this same shit too, and I'm sick of it. Thanks so much for just being out there, giving a voice for all the rest of us. So, oh gosh, I feel so much better. My computer's cooling off a little bit. Thanks so much for everybody. I'm going to just read a few comments here. Sorry I haven't read any, but I was just way too excited. Okay, I have to read comments on my phone with my glasses, but I'm not sure if on my computer. Yes, I can see it. Miss Beck and Miss Mary are both here. Thank the Lord. Nevaeh Miles, what does the tattoo on your right arm say? Also, if you would time travel back, where would you go? What would you stay forever? Just visit and say why? This tattoo says question everything in the font of the In God we trust, and the $1 bill with the all-seeing eye. And no, I'm not part of the Illuminati. If I could travel back in time after I killed baby Hitler, I would probably start sailing much sooner. Kidding, I'm not going to kill anybody. Okay, I am the Senate. Did you beat him up or what? No, I do not incite violence or riots or any such thing. Anything I say, such as beat somebody, I mean politically, or perhaps sarcastically as well. But no, I would never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, for any person, incite violence against anyone, even my most hated people. 44 Transformers. Hello, Caleb. Oh gosh, thanks, whichever one of my Whomping Willows got that idiot. What is this guy to you? The Attorney General Ken Paxton. He's the guy I've been railing against for years now. He's the Attorney General of Texas. Boy, Whomping Willows are stomping the shit out of some of y'all. Thanks, I appreciate it. What is your favorite character in Harry Potter? That's an excellent question. Always happy to answer that. Probably Dobby or Sirius or Severus Snape. Vic says, thank you for fighting for your kids. I am really happy your voice was heard. Thank you very much. And you're welcome, I guess. But I do thank you. Who's that? Do I watch sports? I am the Senate. No, I do not watch sports. I do watch Mike Tyson. I love Mike Tyson. I don't really like organized sports, but I do absolutely love watching Mike Tyson. He is the greatest of all time, all things sports, because it's just him. It's him here and him here and him and there. And he just, the way he coordinates everything, I absolutely love it. I did watch, and I can't remember the name of it. It's a documentary about Michael Jordan. And I remember I made a Facebook post about it. I don't particularly care for sports. Never. I mean, I admire Jordan for his success, but you can not be a sports fan, and it's on Netflix, and I forget the name of it. Y'all can help me out here, but that was a really good show. I did thoroughly enjoy that. Admiral Riley, would you kill baby Hitler? Because I would probably just give him to a really poor family so he could be raised as a farmer. Okay, yeah, I was just kidding. I'm not going to kill anybody. Oh, you can behave or be banned, your choice. That's right. We're not putting up with it. Okay, well, kids, I guess. Let's see, what was your favorite cartoon as a kid? No. I liked Wile E. Coyote, Foghorn Leghorn. This isn't a cartoon, but did y'all ever see that Disney movie, The Swiss Family Robinson? I had a dream about that this week while I was down in Kima in my sailing school. I loved The Swiss Family Robinson. Delta vibes, not good, not doing politics. No offense, but I often say I talk about things that bring us together, not divide us. Today is one exception. Damn it. There goes my connection again. Your connection is unstable. Please wait a while we try reconnecting. I have no idea if y'all can see me or not. Would you ever buy a boat to live in? That's what I'm trying to do. Yes, to answer your question, I'm trying to buy a boat to live in. Once I save my money, if my YouTube channel is successful, again, speaking of, yes, I would like to buy a boat. Speaking of, if you are not a member and you would like to help me out on my channel, if I've brought any kind of joy to your world, give you inspiration or whatever, helped you out, helped your kids out, helped your friends out. If you become a member here, it certainly helps me. The ad revenue I get from whenever you share my videos with your friends and family, that certainly helps me out a lot. Let's see, what type of boat would you buy? Sailboat, sloop, all the way. One mainsail, one jib, all the way. I want to try a catamaran, but I've seen and heard too many horror stories about catamarans. I wouldn't take it across the deep blue like to go see all my European friends, just because they flip over too easy. And a sloop, a keelboat, they're almost insinkable. I'd heard that before and I didn't believe it, but after I talked to the old men, the trainers, the captains that trained me, they convinced me and they proved it. You just can't tip them over. It's really, really quite fascinating how these sloop rigs, these keelboats work. I recommend buying a 29-foot Sea Ray cruiser from Tillboy's channel. Okay. I recommend buying a 29-foot Sea Ray. You said 290. I'm sure you meant 29. I can't afford a 290-foot boat. I wouldn't want one that big anyway. If you were stranded on an island, what two things would you bring with you? I probably don't need to answer that. I need to keep this as PG as possible. Shanna made me some call. Desert Island is a fun game. Yeah, 29 foot. 29, I think, is just a little bit too small. I got on, my first boat I was on, the tiny one, is like a 22. There have been people that have crossed they're circumnavigated the globe in a 22, which I'd never do. If I'm going to live aboard it, I stepped on a 30 or a 29 footer, and they're just a little too small. I'm looking for minimum 34, 35, preferably 40. I got a study. Wish you the best from Georgia Lee. Thank you so much. Shannon made some call. Desert Island. Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Neva Miles, would you rather have a dark colors or paint on your wall or light colors? Oh, I'm in a hotel. This is a Motel 6 colors. It looks kind of like peat green to me. Card games, not really. I'm not into card games. I did play a lot of, what was it, rummy in jail. Lots of rummy in jail. I'm not talking about that, GeoGamer. Sure you understand why. I just watched your video with Parker. Is he still with you? Still not talking about that. Thanks, whichever one of my Whomping Willows got that. Not trying to be rude. I don't know if I'll ever get past the House Parker crowd. I've talked about it till I'm blue in the face. If you don't know how my kids are, I've already talked about it. I just want to keep going about it. There's DSD. Dwayne, did Paxton get arrested, or did his staff just turn on him? They just turned on him. Unless something else has changed that hasn't been reported, he's not been arrested again yet, but his top execs, his own top staff, like 7 of them, all quit and turned him in on their way out. And that just makes me so happy. I have to do homework, but screw that. I'm staying with you and listen to the channel. Well, thanks. Yep, it's about time. I've been at this. It seems like I get nowhere in the beginning of every humongous challenge I ever start. But if I'll just stick with it, it just seems to eventually come around. Nothing may come of it. He may slither out. I don't know. But I'm going to do my part. Again, for those who are just joining, since I was at that rally with a bunch of Republican-type people who knew who Ken Paxton kind of was. They heard the name, but they didn't know much about him. They certainly, none of them, not a single one of them, knew that he'd been arrested. And that is why this is so critical to me, that this breaking news happened like right when I'm in Austin and right when I went to a rally, because I'm going to have the links in the description where you can read it for yourself. This isn't me making this up. This really is happening. The guy really was arrested. These people just cannot believe that. I guess they think I was just making it up. He is a genius either way. I'm not sure who you're talking about. Same. Caleb High from Well Justin. Nurse Kimberly, wait, I'm in Austin. What happened? Well, Nurse Kimberly, this will all be live here in just a bit, or on my channel. You can go back and watch it. But more bad news for Ken Paxton, excellent news for me. His staff quit him. They threw him under the bus, and now the feds are involved. And when the feds get involved, they can either completely ignore it, or sometimes they can do the right thing. Because like I've said before, even in this video today, I'm 100% certain that some of the feds watch my channel. And here's my cue. Wink, wink. Go get them, boys, girls, whoever you are. I'll rewatch. Yes, awesome. Well, thank you. From Lorenzo Russian. Yes, Caleb. Alyssa Bogman. Wait, I just got here. What did he get arrested for? He's not arrested that I know of. Just more bad news for him. His top execs quit. Let's see. The real Nina Ross 46. Congrats, Mr. Caleb. I'm so happy for you for beating Ken Paxton. I don't know how people can't see how amazing you are for your number one dad and loving, humble, absolutely great guy. It's me, Miss Daytona here. Oh, well, thank you very much. Julia Jessa Pope, how old are you? I'm 43. Caleb, UAG? No. I don't want that job. I'm not qualified for that job. I wouldn't know the first thing. Well, I guess if somebody actually wrote my name in and I got elected, I'd figure it out. Caleb, you look like a genius with those glasses. Well, thanks. I feel really old with the gray hair setting in. It's setting nicely in the last few years. What happened is Ken Paxton, he's the deadbeat attorney general of Texas. I've made about 20 videos in the last 3 or 4 years about this douchebag. What made you want to start sailing? Good question. Right after I got out of jail in 2014, I shortly moved to San Antonio instead of, or was it 14 or 15? I don't even remember. I saw a sailing video by a YouTuber named Louis Van Prague, and he's an Australian. He made a video called the West Sail 32, and it's about a 30-minute video of him and his new wife. She's from Washington State or something like that, and they just plotted a course all the way down to the West Coast from Mexico, and they kicked on over to the Marquesas Islands, and then island hopped around, and they got another video where they go down to his homeland in Australia. And I just thought, how beautiful, how liberating, how free that must feel. And that was the very first video I ever watched about sailing and liveaboard sailing, and that's what got me into it. I tagged the guy in my sailing video. I hadn't heard from him on this one, but he's real good about answering his chats, and I've talked to him a little bit. Super nice guy. What's your IQ? I probably average at best. What do you think about the president of Venezuela? I don't know anything about the president of Venezuela. Ken should legally change his name to Deadbeat. I'd be fine with that. Am I gay? No. DSD or Dwayne, okay. Would it be funny if Ken got divorced, then fired, then jailed for being a deadbeat dad? Yes, sir, it sure would. And yours truly is going to throw the biggest, most childish party ever, when or if any or all of those things happen. And y'all are all invited. Oh, that would just be epic. And the really cool thing about that is if it really happens, and in the past when I always said if, I always had this doubt. I just thought I was kind of like pissing in the wind talking about this, but now it's looking like it actually really could happen. The beauty of it is if it does happen, if he really loses, like I said earlier, all statewide elected officials in Texas are Republican. He'd be the very first one to lose in a very long time. And all the big news media is going to analyze it and figure out why, what happened here? Where did all these strange numbers come from? And I'm going to be like, teacher, let me talk. I'll tell you about it. And if they cover that, random crazy ass YouTuber helps defeat Ken Paxton, blah, 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 talking about it, whatever. Not that I want the credit. The point is, the guy will lose. And when that happens, a lot of his victims celebrate victory. And that inspires other people to mimic it. And the way people have mimicked our channel and my activism and what my kids did and the young people that are standing up to abusive people in their lives, to get more people mimicking, it takes a long haul. You don't just make one single video and, oh, I hate so-and-so politician. I hate so-and-so politician that did that. You got to stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. Get creative, find a clever hashtag, blah, blah, blah. Talk about it over and over and over. You got to get in the trenches. And if you get in the trenches, and if I'm able to get enough people doing it on a bigger scale, it sounds like a grand, unattainable idea, but my personal fight, it looks like it really could happen. It really could happen. He literally could be at the behest of his own disgusting policies and wind up in prison for the rest of his life, and his wife have to move on and find some other young buck. And I just can't wait. And the copycats, that's going to be the real kicker there. So watching the copycats. Shannon Jackson, who's bringing food and drinks? Make sure you bring a party hat too. That's right. Hell yeah. Big party. If I have to borrow money and go into debt to throw this party, I'll do it. I haven't borrowed money since 2008 or 9, like over a decade. I have not borrowed money from a bank. I'd actually consider doing it for this occasion only. It's been very hard at my home, but your videos get me through the day. From Lorenzo Russian. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm sorry you're going through stuff like that. It really, I've been reading a lot more of the comments. There's so many more of these kids on there saying, I wish I had a parent. I wish I had a dad like that. And my dad abandoned me or whatever. It just breaks my heart. Admiral, you should get a custom cake. Yes. And I don't know if y'all watched my last live video I did on my boat 6 weeks ago yesterday. As of 6 weeks yesterday, I'm officially dry. I'm quit drinking. I've made a conscious choice to no longer participate. It doesn't tempt me anymore. I went to the DTs for a while. It sucked, but now I sleep like a baby. But if this happens, I could probably bend my own rules and at least pop a bottle and have a glass of champagne, maybe some, nice red wine, a glass or two, just for celebration. But I'll never go back to using alcohol to go to sleep ever, ever, ever again. If you are struggling with alcohol addiction, I'm not going to go into it right now. If anybody ever wants to have a live where we talk about that, or maybe we can do it more of a private, I can talk about my experience with it. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody who's struggling with. I can't relate to people who struggle with marijuana. That's just an herb, but I can't relate to like cocaine or heroin or anything like, because I've never done it. Well, I did cocaine like twice in my early 20s or late teens. But if you are struggling with alcohol addiction, I'd be happy to talk about my struggles, what I would do, and get in a little more depth if it will help other people overcome it. Because I'm here to tell you from firsthand experience, using alcohol to overcome adversity, whether it's PTSD, depression, or a combination of a bunch of that stuff, it's the worst idea you can possibly do. And I do not recommend it for anybody. The occasional drink here and there, that's no big deal. But if you're using it on a regular basis just to go to sleep like I was doing, I highly, highly recommend you find a way. Find it in your gut to just stop. I used marijuana for about a week, and it helped me get through the wonderful plant. I'm glad it grows naturally from the earth. According to Genesis 1:29, God himself made it. I just don't like the smell, whether it's smoked or just the raw weed itself or cooked into a biscuit or a brownie. I just don't like the highs are nice, especially if you get one of those laughing strains that gives you the giggles, makes you feel good about yourself, just fall right asleep. But I can't get past the smell. I don't like it. But for anybody out there that does weed, you'll never hear me complain. I'd much rather people go to marijuana for depression or PTSD than to turn to alcohol, because alcohol is a poisonous drug. And yes, it most definitely is a drug. It's the preferred drug of the politicians, and that's why it's quasi-legal. It's illegal if you're under 21, legal if you're over 21, illegal if you have too much of it, but legal to get plenty of it Monday through Saturday. But the blue laws say it's illegal to buy it. They just keep cutting it up. But if I just stay away from the booze. It's an awful, awful, awful drug that is more or less legal. That people, I'll just go ahead and say it. I used it because it gets out of your system within just a few hours. You can go get completely shit-faced, puking ass, shit-faced drunk on the weekend, and show up to work, take a piss test. If you give it a few hours to get out of your system, perfectly fine, great guy. Yeah, she just showed up to work, but poor some old schmuck just gets off his shit job and dealing with the family court, he just rolls him a big fatty blunt joint, smokes it. Then it sticks in the system for at least a month, depending on how saturated it gets, because the THC sticks to the fat. And that's why so many people just are scared to death to try it. One of the worst things about marijuana is getting caught with it. They say, well, marijuana will ruin your life. Well, guess what happens if you get caught with it by a cop? They'll ruin your life. Yeah, that's right. They'll throw you in jail and just pee all over you and your Cheerios. And I would have loved back in the day to be able to, instead of buying alcohol, to just roll up a big fat doobie and just smoke the shit out like Willie Nelson style, like Snoop Dogg, big fatties, and just chill and relax and go to sleep. Because when you wake up the next day after, it doesn't matter how much marijuana you smoke, you wake up the next day, you feel great. No hangover. Get up, go exercise, work out, get out in the sun, sweat, get your body into shape. Your mind, it helps your mind. But anyway, sorry about that. I didn't mean to get off on a tangent on alcohol and pot, but it's going to be legalized across the board, I would say, in the next couple of years. They just can't keep this up. Okay, yes, let's see. Shanna Jackson, yes, where I live, alcohol is 21, but 18, 17-olds get to drink and get very hurt. It is sad, it is. I just watched the video about Parker from Jaden Radcliffe or Rawcliffe. Radcliffe. Yes, I'm a Harry Potter fan if you're a newbie. Yeah, y'all listen to Miss Becca. I'm just not talking about that. Harv Potts, others, I'm not sure what you mean there. Yes, Miss Mary and Miss Becca are moderators. They are I affectionately call them my Whomping Willows, and they simply have asked, or they do what I've asked them to do. If you're going to talk about things, particularly inappropriate things that you wouldn't talk about people in real life, then I'm just not going to talk about here. As far as my kids, all my kids are great. Just whatever I had to say about the kids, I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. It's already, if they ever want to go public and live on their own time and talk about it, or even use dear old dad's channel, that's great. But okay, I wish I had a dad like you, and I'm only 12. My dad left me at Walmart, and my mom found me at the end of the day. Never seen my dad again. From Monkey Business. Oh, Monkey Business. I'm sorry to hear that. That breaks my heart. I don't know why people do that, but it's nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Do not let that define who you are. You get to define who you are. There's an old saying, or it's an old quote. I'm not sure who said it, but it's been one of my favorite quotes ever since, is be the change that you want to see in the world. Life sucks. People are going to shit on you your whole life. They're going to just do underhand deals, go behind your back, stab you in the back, and it's going to be rough. But the thing is, when you go through stuff like that, it makes you a tougher person. And instead of harboring that resentment, be the change that you want to see. If you want someone, like say you're 12, you wished you had a dad that didn't abandon you, remember, it has nothing to do with who you are. That's who they are. And yes, I understand. I understand the psychology part of, well, that's part of who you are. Yes and no. You are your own person. And if you don't like being treated like that, get through your younger years. Try your best to enjoy your teenage years. Try not to get in too much trouble. A little bit here and there is no big deal. But as you get older, remember where you were as a 12-year-old once you get to be 25, 30, 45, 43, my age. And if that's how I try to live my life. I don't always do it. I make mistakes. I screw up plenty. But my dad never was around when I was a kid. My parents, they're still together to this day. To this day, I disowned him, but he never was around. He worked all the time. I've got very few memories with my dad other than when we'd fight, and that's it. And I decided to be the change that I wanted to see in the world. And when I brought those four beautiful kids into this world, it's either let them go and just let them just figure their own way out, or do my best to help them. And I chose, and again, I've made mistakes, but I chose to more or less shut my life down. I did some fun things to the best of my ability that I could afford or get away with, but I showed up. Every time when they were little, other than when the state put me in jail for being a good dad, I shut down everything, including work, and I showed up over and over and over and over their entire young lives. And now they're moving on to whoever they want to be, whoever they're going to grow into be. And again, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm proud of all my kids. They're making their own ways. They're making their own mistakes, and they're also having their own successes. And I don't judge any of my kids by individual mistakes that they made by any means, because we all make them. Let's see. Our thoughts, Caleb, you and my dad would be a great team of advocates. Well, cool. Harv Potts, I'd like to meet your dad. I love it when people have actually decent fathers in their life and they're able to talk in a positive way about them. That's great. Hell yeah. We need more of that. Hopefully your dad is not a fellow victim of the family court and getting screwed over. See, Aaron Sevheim, hopefully I won't make the same mistake my dad did. I'm almost 24. Well, again, Aaron, remember, everybody does make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes, and the best you can do is acknowledge them, own them, and if your mistake harms somebody, ask them for forgiveness. Just tell them I'm sorry. Like when I spanked Parker those 2 or 3 times, never Hayden, never London, 2 or 3 times Blaine, I've on several occasions asked my children for their forgiveness. I made a mistake. I was stupid. I hate myself that I did that. They've told me that they've forgiven me. I believe them, but I guess what it is, I have to forgive myself, because the more I look back on it, I don't even remember what they did. To this very day, I don't remember what they did. But I was this gigantic person that had much more life experience than they did. And they were these little bitty people. And instead of taking out of my time and get down on their level those 3 or 4 times, I screwed up and I just hit them. I spanked them. And I justified it by, well, I was spanked as a child. There's nothing wrong with me. Well, yeah, there was something wrong with me. I'm hitting my kids. And so I decided to change that. And I encourage all parents, stop hitting your kids. Depending on if you've been hitting them for years, and it's gonna be hard. But if you're a young person, you haven't had any kids, or you're just starting out, maybe you've got a baby on the way, make a vow right now, when that baby's, before they're even born, young child, young baby, young perfect bundle of joy of mine, I promise I will never ever hit you. And don't even raise your voice. I raise my voice with my kids, not like, you stupid. That's how my dad used to talk to me. Caleb, you stupid. And all the spit just falling all over my face. God, I hated that. I've raised my voice like when they're being turds, because there's 4 of them. And at one time, they're literally ages 2, 4, 6, and 8. And sometimes they're just turds. And when you got a bunch of turd kids, you got to get, hey, you little farts, come here to me. Not yelling at them, but raising my voice saying, hey, to get their attention. And then you get down on their level and you talk to them on their level. If they're 5, you get on a 5-year-old level. If they're 2, you get on a 2-year-old level. And 2-year-olds aren't that hard to, you can get them to do what you want. Just train them. Talk to them. They're really fun. I would like you, my dad and me, to be in a conference call. I may do that. I've done it before. I've got to be real careful about doing that. Send me an email. crankmycat@gmail.com. I'll put it in the description as well. I'll consider it. Again, for reasons I can't really talk about here. I have to be careful on agreeing to that on the fly and actually doing it. Let's see, Julie Taylor, I'm happy to see you working on your future. Thank you very much. Salem Elepsy, so is this good news? Oh, well, hell, Salem, I've been talking for 56 minutes. I've kind of got off topic, but I wanted to get my point across about Ken Paxton. As soon as I'm done here, give it about 15, 20 minutes, depending on the connection, maybe an hour tops, and you can rewatch it, and I'll talk about, or you can watch what I talked about the deadbeat Attorney General Ken Paxton. Why'd you go to jail in 2014? I don't get it. You're such a nice and smart person. God bless you. Well, Nevia Miles, the short answer to that, if you're watching this, it's because you watched the 14-year-old Parker movie, and that's exactly why I went to jail. I was convicted of being a good dad. Let's see. Yep. Don't worry, Ken Paxton. There's a comfy jail cell with new steel bars. Yes, and polished. Tom, wait, you got arrested? Yes, back in 2014. I was arrested in court at the behest of Judge Rex. Judge Rex is who had me arrested right there on the spot in jail, and I was convicted of 6 counts of not kicking Parker out of the truck in the video that is approaching 30 million views. I mean, that sucker is getting up there to rock star video status. And I'm excited about it. That's not the only one you got to watch. You got to finish watching, Parker vs. the Man. Caleb gets his phone back from Parker's mom. Then move along to the Blaine series. And I'm glad that most people come to my channel from that one. And then they watch the rest of them. Let's see, Shannon Jackson. That's what parents don't get these days. The cure, and they yell at their kids and they want to hit them in the face and stuff like that's not good, but you're a great, amazing dad/person. Well, thank you very much. I hope more and more people. Are you still in jail? Do I look like I'm in jail? No, I'm not in jail. That was 5-6 years ago. You shouldn't have to go to jail if your own son wanted to go with you. Well, yeah, I agree, but tell Judge Rex that douchebag. Let's see, Elliot, pee pee poo poo. You're such a good dad. I love that video. You're so good for fighting for him. Well, thank you. Arrested. What about the policeman? Well, I was arrested by the what do you call the cop there in the bailiff? The bailiff, once he arrested me and he was walking me out, he looked me square in the eye and said, Mr. Leverett, I've seen 1,000 of these, and I cannot believe what I just saw. I've never in my life seen somebody have the entire book thrown at them. I said, well, thanks. I don't guess you let me go because I really wished I could. And I knew he wasn't going to, but maybe, just perhaps, I planted a seed in his head that maybe what he does for a living isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Maybe he arrests good people just because he's one of the king's men. And when the king says, arrest this man, doesn't matter if it's just or not, but maybe I'm hopefully I planted that seed that just because a judge in a robe says arrest this man, or arrest this woman, or arrest this 13-year-old child, doesn't mean that they're a bad person necessarily. Feminist judge, maybe. Judge Rex. What's his name? I can't remember his name. He's out of Andrews, Texas. He was a fill-in judge. He just literally had a stroke. Like half his body didn't work. He was walking up to his pulpit or his gavel sets. No problems with London. No, I'm not talking about that. London. Oh, let's see. Facebook has half pots and my Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, and check my profile because I'd love to come know more about you, brother. Okay, just send me an email, dude. How is jail? Is it like the movies? It sucks. Yeah, it's bad. And I was in there with some guys that said that even the Ector County jail was worse than some state jails they've been in. All right, kids, we're over an hour here. Okay, I've just got my message just blowing up. This breaking news is just really, really exciting. But let's see, nothing says awesome, man. Thank you. What happened? Is there ever what happened? Is there problems with this? Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. All right, kids, I'm really out of here. We're over now. I've got to go check my messages, and my buddy Tracy's plane should be landing any minute now, and we're going to go hang out. And I told her I'm not going to drink with her, but I'd take some water shots. So anyway, y'all take care. Thanks so much. Paxton for prison.